Ladies and gentlemen, from Matchroom headquarters, live on Sky Sports and Dazn, it's time for the co-featured bout of the evening. It's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. We're sponsored by William Hill, StubHub, Wow Hydrate, WeBuyAnyProperty.com, PureGenix CBD, and JD Sports. This bout is sanctioned under the auspices of the British Boxing Board of Control. The representatives, Mr. Robert Smith and Mr. Dennis Gilmartin. Introducing your three judges scoring this contest. From Doncaster, Michael Alexander. Also from Doncaster, Howard Foster. And from Gillingham, Ian John Lewis. Your timekeeper from Milton Keynes is Stephen Pucci, and at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring from Preston, A-star referee, Mr. Phil Edwards. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 12 rounds of boxing scheduled for the vacant British Lightweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, standing with his head trainer, Tony Borg. He wears the gray and black. He scaled 9 stone, 8 pounds, 4 ounces. Professional record, 12 victories, 1 defeat. He has 2 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Merthyr Tydfil, Wales, ladies and gentlemen, introducing Gavin Gwynne. And his opponent across the ring fighting out of the blue corner. He stands with his head trainer, Tony Dunlop. He wears the red, yellow, and blue. He scaled 9 stone, 8 pounds, 8 ounces. His professional record, 26 victories, 3 defeats. He has 22 big wins coming by way of knockout. Here is the former Commonwealth, European, and WBA International Champion, and the former World Title Challenger, fighting out of Belfast, Northern Ireland, James the Assassin Tenneyson.
Second out, round 1.
So the vacant British lightweight title then, 12 rounds at lightweight between James Tenneyson in the red shorts with the blue and yellow trim, and Gavin Gwynne, the tall figure, all in black. Is he going to have to weather potentially an early storm from the heavy hands of James Tenneyson?
I want to say yes, he is, Chris. Absolutely. Tenneyson puts absolutely everything into his shots, and you can already see him on the front foot, forcing the pace, forcing the action, trying to land that big right hand of his.
Well, Gwynne was on the front foot for the majority of the contest against Joe Cordina. He was only backed up in spots by the much smaller Welshman, who has since moved down a weight division, and I think that will suit him much better. In contrast, Tenneyson has come up over the years and really filled into a decent-sized lightweight. Stabs that jab to the body hard, and Gwynne, very, very tough, durable man. Hands aren't particularly quick, and he's got very long levers, hard to get the right leverage on the inside, and Tenneyson has no problem with that whatsoever. So it may be him hunting into space and trying to rough Gwynne up, push him back and open up some spots to the body. Gwynne, he tucks up, long arms.
He has. He's got nice high guard. A few jabs have crept through from Tenneyson. But look at Gwynne, though. He's happy to stand in the centre of the ring. He's been caught with a couple. Maybe early on he feels he can take the power of Tenneyson. Dangerous move, though. We've seen it so many times with fighters in the past getting caught cold.
But when you are the taller fighter, I think sometimes taller fighters are taught too much to hold that gap and always be the one to step off to maintain the distance. But the problem is, Darren, is that if you give a forward hunting fighter too much momentum, you never really get it back. And the last thing that Gavin Gwynne needs to do too early is give James Tenneyson momentum. The first thing he needs to try and do is get his respect. And you have to like the way that he's tried to start off it.
Absolutely. Both men really battling for the centre of that ring. For me, though he's newer to the division, Tenneyson, he is the naturally stronger guy. We can see it, he's very aggressive with his feet. See, he's always trying to push his opponent back. That was good work, doubling up the left hook, head and body. Lovely right uppercut there from Gwynne.
And just turned him, got back to centre ring, and Tenneyson thumps a jab through the middle, steps on his man again, just tries to push the right hand through. The jab landed, but the right hand missed, and Gwynne trying to push him off. But physically, as you mentioned, Darren, Tenneyson, lower centre of gravity, physically more stocky. He's going to be the better in these kinds of exchanges where they do get physical.
Absolutely. Great opening round. I've really enjoyed this. I had a feeling before when I see this matchup made, I did feel this could be one that sort of really steals the show. With the way Tenneyson, he really puts everything into his shots. I give him that round there. Some good work, forcing the action, pushing him back, but Gwynne, credit to him, he landed some good shots. That was a lovely left to the body.
And just caught the left hook before shooting the uppercut through the middle. Just waiting for those wide shots to come in for that central gap to appear, and it does so again, but to the midsection there. So he's thinking intelligently on the inside. It was nice turn and exit there from Gavin Gwynne. Just spun his man.
There wasn't a great deal in that round at all, but I just feel the aggression, and there's a few more shots landed from Tenneyson. Probably the more eye-catching shots, a couple, 2 or 3 in there were from Gwynne, but I think the more volume was from Tenneyson there. Good opening round.
Corners, 10 seconds. Seconds out, round 2.
So away we go then, second of 12. It started at a decent pace as Tenneyson just shoots a jab up to the chin of Gavin Gwynne. Started well and played his part in that opening round, but is this going to start to get difficult as he goes on? Can he drag Tenneyson into some deep waters? Tenneyson just shoots another straight shot through the middle, head snapped back by a nice long jab of Gwynne.
Good short left uppercut went in there, Chris, from Tenneyson. Good work. But you see there, that good high guard, exactly what you need when you're fighting a big puncher.
And the mouthpiece of James Tenneyson just come out momentarily there. But it's going to be difficult for Gwynne to keep him off all night because the power of the jab isn't quite there, and Tenneyson can keep walking through that. It's going to mean that Gwynne have to step off laterally every single time Tenneyson commits, otherwise he's going to find himself on the inside. And so far, you can see the way that Tenneyson bossing those inside exchanges. Gavin Gwynne's best hope is to box this one at range, as he is doing now, and doing a good job of it.
Yeah, I've said it previously as well. I think if he was to feint and try and draw the lead of Tenneyson and try and throw the right uppercut, which I've seen him throw really well, it's very hard to defend the uppercut when you're on your front foot, and I think that's a shot that Gwynne might try and look for, but now I think he's just trying to get working behind the jab, keep moving. That was a good right hand, doubled it up, good work, lovely good right hand, another good right hand there from Gwynne.
And Tenneyson not moving his feet there, so Gwynne forcing him to move his head by throwing plenty of shots at him and throwing them long too, and that's where he's going to be at his best, where he can extend fully through the punch. Tenneyson kind of in no man's land there, doesn't really want to stand on the edge of punching distance where he's out of range and Gwynne is in, but that right hand caught Gwynne on the temple. Continues to work away. It just looked for a second like it may have buckled him, but actually he looks okay.
Yeah, when, like you say, Tennyson's in punching range, he's got to move his head. Can't stand there. Move side to side, roll in, trying to miss these long shots and come back with your counter. Good stuff from Gwynne, though, in this round.
Just got to be a little bit more urgency with Tenneyson when he's on the edge of punching distance to close that gap. Standing there, you've either got to move your head or you've got to commit and get inside of Gwynne, because otherwise you're giving him the kind of distance and space that he wants to work. And it's going to be about who can impose their game plan the better on the other.
Good work. Gwynne obviously knows about the weakness that Tennyson's shown to the body, and he's landed some good left hooks. Neither guy can miss with the uppercuts at the minute.
How much of that weakness to the body was to do with being weight drained and dead at the weight, or how much of it is just an inherent weakness in James Tenneyson. Can Gavin Gwynne find that out tonight at lightweight as Tenneyson just thunders those shots up through the middle of the guard. But Gwynne returns, and he's actually boxing really well, Darren. Nice head movement there from Tenneyson, just to turn his man, give himself a bit of space. Gwynne is working exceptionally hard. I'd argue he's having to put the more work in of the two to stay at the pace. Will he be able to maintain this throughout the 12 rounds? That will be the question. Stiff right hand through the centre there, and then a short uppercut on the inside from Tenneyson, using that left hand really well. Gwynne is having to bite down, absorb some of these, and trying to push Tenneyson backwards as he's punching to keep him off balance.
Absolutely, like you say there, he is having to work the harder out of the two to try and oppose his size on Tenneyson. But there's no doubt under Tony Bogg, you know, he'll be training in the valleys, in Wales, he'll be extremely fit. I've no doubt that he's got the engine to sustain this pace, as has Tenneyson. For me, I've got that one apiece there. Some good work. I mean, it's really entertaining stuff at the minute.
Well, for our international audience, Merthyr, town in Wales, one of the industrial towns, a sport of boxing that made its way into the towns and reflected the kind of difficulty and struggle of the life there. And although it kind of exploited the working class man, it was and still is a key means of ordinary folk to rise out of poverty and into a better life. He's from that stock, Gavin Gwynne, and they really are as tough as it comes.
Second out, round
There's a
3.
string of fighters from Merthyr that held the Welsh public's attention in the second half of the 20th century. Guys like Eddie Thomas and Howard Winston, of course young Johnny Owen, who so tragically lost his life in that world title clash against Lupe Pintor in 1980. You only need to watch a bit of that as a reminder of just the kind of risk that these young men put on the line every time that they step through the ropes. Gavin Gwynne will be well aware of Johnny Owen's story and his history too.
Well said, Chris. You know, every single man or lady that gets through those ropes deserves the utmost respect, because ultimately, you know, the worst case scenario is a terrible, terrible outcome. But back to this action now. Good work. They really have not stopped, have they? From that first bell, only in the third, but both men still trying to get the upper hand, force their size, their power into the contest.
Stiff jab to the body there from Tenneyson. 2 minutes on the clock in the third, and as you say, a frenetic pace. How long will they be able to keep this up? You would think that maybe come the middle rounds, if this is still going, they'll have to take a kind of mutually agreed breather, because especially Gavin Gwynne, he's been pumping out the jabs and the straight shots.
That jab from Tenneyson to the body is definitely the shot I'd be asking for if I was in the corner. Absolutely, try and get that guard down from Gwynne and then come back with the right hand. Good stuff though, Gwynne really biting down on his gum shield. Like you say, probably having to work the harder of the two.
I think the difference in the Cordina fight, he wasn't seeing the shots coming, but Cordina just didn't carry the real sting to hurt him at this weight. With Tenneyson, he's seeing the shots coming more, and although they carry more weight, because he sees them, he's able to ride them. And I think it's always really so much the weight of the shot, Darren, as you will know, it's whether you're seeing them coming or not.
Absolutely.
And at the moment, he is seeing most of them coming.
He is. He's doing a good job of moving out the way, and if he is in range, he's got his hand nice and high, as we see there. See Tenneyson targeting the body a bit more. There you go, lovely shot.
See him looking for that now, just rolling that head side to side, looking for those openings for the hooks to the body. But Gwynne so far is just pot-shotting him, picking him from range and trying to stop him from getting into mid-range, as he does there. Lovely combination
right hand
through the centre. That's hurt Gavin Gwynne, just hangs on.
The problem with starting a fight at this pace is you don't, from a mental aspect, you don't want to give your opponent the thought that you might be tiring. So you're having to match your opponent for the pace.
Yeah, there's been very little by way of a feeling out process here, is there? They've gone straight to work, and quite surprising really. But Gwynne, when he's not punching, he's having to tuck up tight, and the real options for Tenneyson are either round the side of the guard or straight through the centre. With those short uppercuts up the middle, you see him bobbing and weaving, looking for those side to side. Referee Phil Edwards is just telling Tenneyson to just keep his head up on the inside, because of course when you're the shorter man and there's a lot of fighting up close, you are safer than your opponent. Yeah. It's always the taller man that tends to get cut just around the eyebrows. 12 rounds against Ted Cheeseman coming up after this, but into round 4 here. of James Tenneyson and Gavin Gwynne, a contest that has caught fire from the off. Both are working hard, and the only thing this contest is missing is a crowd to just tell us how good it is.
Yeah, exactly that.
Oh, lovely work from Tenneyson.
I love the way that Tenneyson puts everything into a shot. You know, I was talking to you a while back whilst in the bubble, you know, what makes a puncher? And for me, it's someone that puts everything in the shot, the full rotation, speed, doesn't worry too much about what's going to come back, just absolutely committed to that shot, and that's what we see Tenneyson doing so well, really lets the shots go.
And conversely, Darren, Gavin Gwynne, you can see there is a little bit of hesitance just as Tenneyson parries the jab away there. When he throws that jab, he is constantly thinking what's coming back at him. He's having to keep his eyes on Tenneyson all the time, because that counter right over the jab is what Cordina caught him with on a number of occasions in their 12 rounds for the same title last year. Oh, and you see Tenneyson looking for it there.
Very big shot there, like it just missed the target. Oh, right hand on the side there. He's tough as old boots, isn't he, Gwynne? You know, really does take a good shot.
Well, he's been marked up significantly, Gavin Gwynne. There is marks on the forehead, top of the cheeks as well as Tenneyson. Is he just starting to tenderise him and get there? But Gavin Gwynne is still composed, still boxing well, picking his shots. The guard's tight, the shape is good. And those are the main indicators, Darren, that the fighter's still got everything that they need. But these kind of shots, as they get through, eventually, even if you're as tough as Gavin Gwynne, they're going to take their toll at some point.
Absolutely, of course they will. You know, you only have to look at the knockout percentage from Tenneyson to realise that he's a huge puncher, and it doesn't matter. Even the shots that are hitting him on the guard, like there, on the arms, they do take the toll. Oh, big right hook there.
And trying to set that up with the jab to the body, trying to bring that guard down. The thing about Gavin Gwynne's arms, though, his forearms are so long that even when he's got his gloves high up by his chin, his elbows come all the way down, almost to his waist. So it is very hard to get him to bring that guard down. And he covers a large portion of his body when he tucks up tight. And this is where Tennyson's going to have to intelligently try and open him up, look for those wide angles to set the narrow shots up, things like that. So he's doing it there, just jab down the centre, then looks for the wide shots. Lovely right hand, just steps off to the left there with it too. Takes his head out of centre. This is good work from Tenneyson on the inside. 30 seconds to go in the 4th round.
I was just about to say, this is I mean, it has been the best round for Tenneyson by far, you know, really stamped his authority, but back comes Gwynne, you know, working well, trying to target that body. Back comes Tenneyson. I mean, it's really entertaining stuff, this.
Brilliant work, isn't it, from both of them? Just exchanging double left hooks. Tenneyson rips up the middle. And this is where Gavin Gwynne is going to be vulnerable, when he is opening up himself. Tenneyson, this is where Tenneyson needs to take the opportunity to try and punch.
Great fight, great round.
What a round that was. And Gavin
stuff.
Gwynne showing real marks of war there. Let's have a look at Tenneyson as he sits down. His face doesn't look too bad at all, Darren. And I think really what you're seeing here is the accumulative volume and the weight of shots. And if we didn't know their records, you can see from this that Tenneyson is the puncher, but Gwynne is playing his part in this, and he's right in the contest.
Absolutely. The first 2 minutes of that round were all Tenneyson, but back comes Gwynne with a good last minute. Good work, really doubled up the right hand well there, body, head, good stuff. Back comes Tenneyson, really, really entertaining.
Well, there's one point they both exchanged double left hook to the body. In fact, it might have been then, right on cue.
On the flip side, sometimes, you know, I look at contests like this and think, I would love to get back in there. And then the other side, I think, absolutely not.
Get you a couple of boxes of aspirin for the next day, I think. Maybe a few days.
Round 5.
Well, what a contest it's been so far, and we're not even at the halfway stage yet. How are you scoring it so far, Darren?
There's not much in this at all. I've just got Tenneyson up. 2 rounds. Just sort of grabbing hold of it
This is
better.
the difficulty in boxing, of course, is that Tenneyson, you know, could go and take a few wide on the cards, but ultimately it doesn't really tell the story of the individual rounds. He's not winning them, if he is, by a great deal.
No, absolutely not. You know, Gwynne's always trying to have the last say in the arguments. He's coming off second best most of the time, but he's always there, still trying to land that shot. He does need to be careful. Sometimes he does pop that jab out slightly slow like that. It's not that quick. Can't be pouring the jab against someone like Tenneyson, who does look for that overhand right.
As you say, he's popping that out in a rhythm as well. It's 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and Tenneyson looking for that right hand at all times. And then when he gets up close, that's when he thinks about ripping to the body and those short uppercuts through the middle.
Really do wince Every time he throws a shot, he throws it with real purpose, doesn't he, Chris?
He absolutely does. But listen, Gavin Gwynne's putting a lot into those shots. He's just not naturally got the heavy hands. Tenneyson, though, here he is now at close range. What can he open up? Gwynne just pops a couple of short uppercuts through the middle, tries to establish a bit more distance with the jab. Tenneyson just fell in on that right hand a little bit there, and again keeps the earmuffs on. Covers up, takes the sting of those shots on the gloves, rips that left hook to the body. Gwynne back on the jab, uppercut through the middle.
Ooh.
Good work from the Welshman.
Good
Tenneyson
stuff.
is having to graft it.
He really is. You know, same as a come forward tough big puncher can break the heart of the opponent where they just keep ploughing forward. So can the tough, durable guy break the big puncher's heart too. You know, what do I have to do to get rid of this guy? He's still there at the midway point. You start to feel the pace slightly, as Tenneyson, I'm sure, will at some point. Could give Gwynne the opportunity, but right now, Tenneyson looks very strong.
Well, there's some blood from the nose of James Tenneyson, I think courtesy of a couple of those uppercuts that Gavin Gwynne is thrown with really lovely technique through the middle when they have been up close on the inside. Just see him levering a bit of space with the forearm there as Tenneyson comes back with the left hook to the body, just scraping those under the elbows.
Fantastic. Both men in the centre of the ring. Referee's not having to do anything to split them up. No holding going on. Both looking to land big bombs. They're both doubling up hooks really well. Non-stop, action-packed.
Gwynne ripping away to the body. He knew he wouldn't have to go looking for Tenneyson, so he would have planned for a fight like this. But the one question mark was whether he could take the power shots from Tenneyson in those 4 or 5 rounds. He's answered that question so far, and he's dragged Tenneyson into a real fight here that may go into the second half of the contest. And listen, we said this could happen if he didn't fall in those first 4 or 5 rounds. As Craig Evans did against James Tenneyson, suddenly he finds himself in a fight, and for a guy that's used to hitting opponents and watching them fall, this has to, on some level, just make you question yourself mentally, having come up the weight, everything else. Suddenly you're landing these clean shots, you're firing everything at a guy in front of you, and he's not going anywhere.
Absolutely, it can mentally destroy you, but I think where Tennyson's been in that situation before, he did have Craig Evans down, and then later on in the fight, he did manage to stop him after Evans did come back into the contest. So he knows that he's able to put his man out at any time in the fight.
Absolutely. Gwynne, on the other hand, has been the distance on 10 occasions, and he's been the distance in some high-octane fights too. So he will trust in his engine. And you know how important that is. Those first couple of hard fights in your career, go the distance, you then know going forwards, I can do this. And Gavin Gwynne will absolutely know he can do this. James Tenneyson, will there be any doubts? Will he have the confidence going into the second half of the contest? It's really, really edge of your seat stuff.
It really is. Fantastic chin on both men. More so Gwynne, where we know, again, touched on the power that Tenneyson has, but he has taken some big shots. He's still there, still letting his hands go. Getting pushed back more so now. Seeing him on the perimeter of the ring, the outside, he's been on the ropes.
What Gavin Gwynne's doing here, I think, Darren, as well, is just testing the conditioning of James Tenneyson by constantly pumping that jab out at long range. It's making Tenneyson either have to catch the shot, absorb it on the gloves, or slip and dip, and all of that makes you expend energy. And for a fight that Gavin Gwynne will know his best chances over the distance, that is a smart tactic.
Absolutely, physically and mentally draining. You know, he's trying to force his will into this fight, which he has done, and trying to make Tenneyson think non-stop. Can't make this easy. Can't let someone bulldoze you down, push you back. Be a very painful night for you if you allow so.
But Gavin Gwynne's face is really starting to show the marks of battle. Just watch that uppercut glide off the outside of his gloves, and he is winning the distance exchange here. It's just that when they get up close, you sense the power and the thudding shots of Tenneyson are the more impactful ones, even though I think it's fair to say that Gavin Gwynne is the busier of the two.
I would say so, yeah. Good right hook
Stiff
there.
right hand there.
Shot.
That's hurt Gavin
time.
Gwynne, and he takes a knee. And we said earlier Simon Vallely should have taken a knee to give him the the space and time to work out how he was. He looks across to Tony Ball.
Yeah.
He is hurt here, Darren, and he's a tough man too. He will want to carry on, but there's a minute on the clock for James Tenneyson to put his foot on the pedal, reaches with the right hand, slams the uppercut through the middle. Gavin Gwynne is in real trouble here, and Tenneyson opening up. Gwynne occupies the left hand. This is smart survival tactics from the Welshman, but there's a long time in there to survive.
Wow, the uppercuts.
Tenneyson putting his foot down here. The referee's going to have a look at Gwynne. He tucks up deep into that shell, tries to open up with the left hook. I don't think that was sensible. Another right hand, hangs on again. It's all over. Terrific performance from James Tenneyson. It came out of nowhere, and just as though it looked as if Gavin Gwynne was getting a foothold, the fight was over. And well, he's touching the top of his head there, Darren. We will need to have a look at a replay, whether there was a clash of heads or something he's signalling to there, but he was really hurt. And do you know what? He did his best to survive in that situation.
He really did. I've got so much respect for Gwynne, I really do. He tried his absolute best in there with an absolute fierce puncher, and I'm absolutely gutted for him because he really wanted to bring that title home for his son. But on the flip side, well done to James Tenneyson. He showed he belongs at that level.
Let's try and have a look here. Stiff right hand.
What a shot.
Well, he was touching the top of his head, but there was no doubt about it. It was a clean right hand that did the damage. And, well, there it was, bang on the top of the temple. And, well, it hurt him badly. He took a knee, tried to give himself every opportunity to survive. And when you're hurt, he actually showed a level of clarity thinking that is not often present in fighters. This is the finish. Talk us through this, Darren.
It was just a barrage of punches. Really forced himself onto Gwynne. Just didn't give him any chance. He tried to come back with a shot there. Game man Gwynne, but he done the right thing, the referee, by jumping in there because he was hurt. There was another left that went in, staggered Gwynne.
And so brave. He would have finished on his feet. Well, he did finish on his feet, didn't he? It was always going to be on Phil Edwards to step in and make the decision. You can see Eddie Hearn in the background looking on. It's been a terrific night of fights so far. No easy fights was the motto, and there haven't been any easy fights either.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was a great performance from Gwynne against a very game opponent there.
Wow, what a win for James Tenneyson. Stops the fight at the midway point of the contest, and as you said, all credit to Gavin Gwynne. You can just see him on the wide there going over to James Tenneyson. It was a respectful build-up between the two teams and the two fighters. He's touching the top of his head there. Not sure whether there was a clash at some point that scrambled his senses, but there was no doubt the right hand that landed was the one that started the unravelling process.
Absolute sickener of a shot. It was a fantastically delivered shot as well. And yeah, I mean, this guy is going to be in some very entertaining fights moving forward. It's a very prestigious title that he's just picked up there, and now moving on to bigger and better things.
Well, a number of emerging contenders at lightweight: George Cambosos Jr., Rolando Romero, Roman
Ladies and
Andrew.
gentlemen, referee Phil Edwards calls a halt to this contest. The official time of the stoppage, 2 minutes and 30 seconds of round number 6. Your winner by RSC and the new British lightweight champion, James the Assassin Tenneyson.